This is my story. I am not a storyteller, and I tend to ramble a bit, so please bear with me. It is more than a little bit crazy, and will most assuredly be unbelievable to most of you. I swear it is true to the best of my memory, and though it is beyond belief, I ask that you at least hear me. I have to start from the very beginning, so that you understand the whole tale. I am from a small village on the outskirts of Simoria, named Belhan. I was once a very simple young man with limited skills in anything, really. I really liked the idea of traveling the empire, so I focused on finding something I could sell as a traveling merchant. Very young, very inexperienced, and very unlucky. I had started out trying to peddle bone jewelry that I made as I traveled. They were horrible and didn't sell at all, like not a single piece. It didn't take long before my seed was all but gone. A seed is gifts, usually coin that is given to a young person to begin their adult journey. It is a very common practice in Simoria. I was gifted a decent amount for someone from such a low-born family as mine. My family are not paupers, but mostly farmers, and I have an aunt that married a blacksmith. I used my seed to buy a mule and a very small covered cart, leaving me with enough funds for a few months on the road. I was now almost destitute. I had not sold a single item from my cart to a single soul. I was in the early onset stages of desperate. It was here in my story that I found her. Well, found might be a bit misleading. I almost ran her over. Coming down a gentle slope, about halfway between Weiler and King's Lake, is where it happened. Lost in my own head, obsessing over my bad luck. Convinced it was bad luck because my bone jewelry was beautiful in my mind. It had to be bad luck. Then it happened. There was nothing, and then there was a girl. I swear she just appeared. Onion, my mule, snorted and took a hard right in the road, almost sending me into the rocks that lined the lane. I heard a thump and an oof. That's when I saw her. A lady wearing a strange blue-green dress goes flying back and lands on her backside. I obviously didn't know it then, but that was the moment my life changed. Jumping down from my cart, I ran to the girl. Apologizing, I began to awkwardly try to pick her up and dust her off at the same time. That's when I noticed the look of horror on her face as she began swatting at my hands. I wasn't trying to be inappropriate, but there I was, manhandling a woman in the middle of nowhere, trying to be helpful after I nearly killed her. By her reaction, I realized I appeared to be attacking her. I stood back away from her and went dead silent. I was horrified. I may not have been a refined gentleman at that point in my life, but I knew better than to touch a random lady like that. I looked down at my feet and mumbled, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. How can I gain your forgiveness?" The dark-haired woman in the blue-green dress just sat there looking around in a panic. I was so confused what was happening. She wasn't yelling at me anymore, but instead was sort of sobbing and moaning at the same time. She was obviously in a state. Not knowing what to do, I took another step back. Honestly, her reaction and actions was making me quite scared too. Scared at what? I don't know, but with her acting like she was, I guess I was convinced something horrible was happening, and I was ignorant of what. "Lady, are you okay? Are you hurt?" She didn't reply immediately, but when she did, I was even more confused. "Where am I?" she asked in a breathless voice. What happened? Now I was really concerned at that point. Had she suffered a head injury in her fall? Was she just simple? She didn't look simple. She looked, well, normal. I decided to just answer directly, with the facts as I knew them. "I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. I didn't see you and Onion hit you and knocked you down. To be fair, we are literally in middle of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to have to steer clear of pedestrians out here. As to where you are about 3 days from King's Lake that way," I said as I pointed down the road. "Weiler is back that way a few days. We are literally in the middle of nothing." After a very brief pause, I added a question of my own. What are you doing out here? Are you lost? The lady in the dress looked at Onion, then back at me, obviously not satisfied with my answers. King's Lake? Weiler? I don't know those places. How far is that from Scranton? How did I get here? She kind of shook her head as though to maybe clear some cobwebs. Wait, I fell. She whispered, I fell off the balcony. Am I dead? Is this heaven? Oh my God, is this hell? With my eyebrows scrunched up, I asked, Scranton? Never heard of Scranton. Is that up in the mountains? I don't know much about that area. As for heaven and hell, well, this isn't heaven and hell, is more of a state of mind, isn't? I must say, I am rather concerned about you right now. Did you hit your head in your fall? I looked at her more intensely to see if I could detect a bump or maybe some blood on her face and head. All I saw was a mildly attractive woman who appeared to be in good health. I don't think so, she said. I think I died. You what? You died? I repeated incredulously. Lady, if you're dead, I'm dead. I don't like that idea, so I'm going to say no. You are very much alive, though, maybe a bit confused due to a head injury. I don't have a head injury, she replied shortly. What country am I in? What planet is this? What year is it? Okay, I thought, this is going to go poorly. She has lost her mind. Moving to my cart, I grabbed a water skin and brought it back to her, trying to buy a few precious seconds to get my wits about me. It wouldn't be good for us both to be addled. Handing her the water, I said, Here, drink some of this. It's just water, but it might help. I leaned way forward to hand her the water skin so as not to get too close. It will be getting dark soon. Let me set up camp and I can light a fire. I will cook something, and we can go over all your questions one at a time. I think I may have a few of my own. My name is Weiler. My name is Danny, short for Danielle, she replied as she took a very small sip of the water. Well, Danny, please step out of the road while I get a quick camp set up. It won't take but a few minutes. In a daze, she slowly walked to just off the side of the road and turned to watch me as I took Onion off his yoke and led him to the small field between the tree lines on the right side. Hobbling him, I tried to watch Danny from the corner of my eye, half expecting her to collapse due to the head trauma I was, at this point, convinced she was suffering. Keeping one eye on her, Danny, I began to prep a camp. I will leave all the details of that unsaid, but within about 20 minutes I had the tarps dropped to provide covering under my cart and a fire going just off to the side of the road. I began to heat up some water to make a soup of sorts. I motioned Danny over to come sit by the fire and began asking questions. I do not recall exactly how the conversation went word for word, but over the course of the next hour or so I got a story from her. A story that, at the time, I thought was ridiculous. She claimed to be from a place called Ohio, specifically from a city named Scranton. She was at a party and fell. Then she appeared in the middle of the road and was immediately ploughed down by a dusty mule. I should note, Onion was seemingly listening intently and pulled his head up from gnawing at some weeds quickly at this point. I swear he understood her and took exception to being called Dusty. As the sun went down, her story kept going. I learnt more about her in those few hours of that first night than I know about my own first cousin Rolpy. She really liked to talk. Still does, I suppose. The conversation, though it appeared to be the fantastic ramblings of an addled mind, came easy. I asked questions, she answered. She asked questions and I tried to answer, but honestly, her questions were, in my mind, insane. Just before I laid out a fur for her to sleep on with a tattered blanket to cover herself with for the night, she said something that I later learned to be truth. I know I am a nerd. That was a word I had never heard before, but she continued as I ran the word around in my head for a minute. I think I've been isekai'd. Another word I've never heard before. What is nerd and isekai? I don't understand. She kind of half giggled and half snorted, saying, "A nerd is me, and isekai is something that happens to nerds when they die." I pretended to understand, just so she would keep talking. It's a kind of reincarnation, I guess. I have been given a second chance, I guess. I really didn't do much with my previous life. Maybe I am being allowed to do better for myself. Say, do you have a sword? Can you cast magic? I laughed. No, I am no warrior, and magic is fantasy. It's for kids, and I grew out of those dreams a long time ago. She really seemed disheartened by that, as her shoulders kind of slumped and her face went blank. Oh, that sucks. So you don't have mana? Now, that was a word I understood. Mana is what we call inner strength. It is believed that resolve and physical strength can be enhanced by one's mana. I explained that to her and added that I don't believe it's an actual thing, but rather just a word that is used to describe hard work. Some people have it in them and some don't. It was this conversat ion. On the first night, I met Danny, that my journey began. My efforts to reach my inner magic and create my destiny as the world's greatest potion maker started by a question from an insane woman from another world. It would rock the very foundation of Samoria and all the people who lived there. If you like the story so far and would like to hear more, please like and subscribe. Maybe leave a complimentary comment too. If this is well received, I will